All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Final Bell. Um, Honestly, this show surprised the hell out of me for being what it was. Was it better than All In? No, but All Out still,
Yeah.
showcased exactly what it could be as a show in general. Of course, we had our buy-in, we had the main
Mhm.
show, and we're gonna start with that said buy-in. And this was not originally.
At
I,
least we
I
didn't
think
see that it was like originally advertised. It
advertised at
might
all.
have been advertised for all we know, but it was kind of like,
We knew two of the matches were.
yeah,
The over budget battle royal, we did not know it was going to happen until it kind of happened. Um, so it was 20 men in the battle royal to face off.
by the way, guys, this is not beer. This is liquid death, in
Yes,
case anyone is
if
wondering.
Liquid Death wants to advertise our show, all the power to them. It's great stuff. Death the Plastic is what it kind
Yes,
of is
yeah.
saying, but Liquid Death, if you want to advertise us, all for it. Um,
I was gonna say
but
it's
yes,
not a sponsor,
20
but
men start off in this battle royal. One winner gets to donate $50,000 of TK's money to any charity he um, wants to. And said winner was
well, here's the thing.
what's up?
Before we get
Yeah,
there, I
go.
was pleasantly surprised at the winner. I thought it was gonna be the runner-up.
And who was the runner-up?
Brian Cage.
There was a few
I
men
feel
that
like
I
it would have
thought
benefited him
that would have
more,
made more sense. Well, yeah, but
but
the problem
to
is,
be fair,
what's the true benefit of this real battle royal other than you get to send
yeah,
money? And I will say this now, it's pretty cool, and we'll state why it's cool in a second. So, in all, yeah, you flipped over to men, and it was Adam Hangman Page.
yeah.
They got the victory here in the
Well,
over budget battle
also
royal.
how he won was pretty cool. Also, he hit the dead eye on Brian Cage on the apron. Both
Yes,
men had already gone over the top rope, and then Adam Page hit the dead eye. But more importantly, the charity that Adam Page had donated to
yeah,
makes all the more sense
yeah,
into how much of a good man Hangman Adam Page is. He
yeah.
donated to the Chicago Public Education Fund,
Yes, yes.
which, by the way, ties into what I said earlier of it makes all the more sense considering that man gave up his job as a public school teacher to be full time in wrestling.
All right, yeah, I guess that makes all the sense that he wants to put money into the public education. And honestly, I will say this now. I don't want to go into the politics of anything, but I think there needs to be more money going into the public education system as a whole. And 50,000 to Chicago's public education fund is a great start. It's a great cause. I think it's good for the city of Chicago itself and also the state of Illinois. Awesome for Adam Hangman Page doing that. And I hope we'll also hear from him later tonight. So I don't know what truly this means for Adam Hangman Page going forward. It does suck because you went from being on I think he was on the main card for All In to being on the buy-in for
Yeah,
All Out, which does suck. But you got to be in front of 81,000 fans and All In to what, over 10,000 for All Out. So I guess it
yeah,
makes up for it.
yeah, because he was in that 6-man match with
Yep,
Ibushi and Omega
exactly.
against
That's what
Bullet
I'm
Club
saying.
Gold and Takeshita
See,
at All In, and then
anyway, it was.
now have him in the over budget battle royal. It's like,
That's why it's like
okay,
it does seem a little odd, but again, so we get into our next buy-in match
yeah,
is a 6 women tag team match. We have Sky Blue, Hikaru Shida, and Willow Nightingale getting Diamante, Mercedes Martinez, and Athena.
I thought this match was a little weird.
This one seemed weird. It did seem weird because Diamante, Mercedes Martinez, and Athena don't seem to be on the
not to mention,
same side at all.
Not to mention, I thought they were like in a rivalry in Ring of Honor. Diamante, or at least Mercedes Martinez and Athena, which kind of makes sense because Mercedes is the one that Athena beat to become the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. So, I mean, but then, there's Diamante.
Also, I don't want to say anything too much to kind of get canceled, but Hikaru Shida, I think you really need to overthink of what kind of attire you're going to wear going forward because, my lord, I don't think it's the right choice for you at all.
We're just trying to. We're just trying to be respectful.
I'm trying to really be respectful. Yeah, Hikaru Shida. I get it. Not even just women. A lot of men like to not really wear a whole lot while they're in the ring. And here's looking at you, AJ Styles. Yeah, and but
leave a like if you get the reference.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Sky Blue, Hikaru Shida, and Willow Nightingale was able to get the victory here on Diamante, Mercedes Martinez, and Athena. I mean, I know it's bad that we're not going really too deep into a lot of these pre-show matches, but there's not really a whole lot to talk about with them. Now, the last buy-in match. Now, this one was an interesting one. Okay, so our audio... when we were watching this on YouTube on our big TV, it kind of cut out towards the end.
Yeah.
But you can literally go watch the video. Dennis Rodman, I found this hilarious because you have two former basketball players in the ring at the same time. Satnam Singh did get drafted by the Dallas Mavericks back in the day before he became a wrestler. Dennis Rodman, we all know about his time with Chicago Bulls, winning 5 championships. I think he only won 5. He was not there for the very first one, but was there for the other 5. He played for San Antonio, I think Detroit.
So he played longer.
There's also other like photos that I see of him having like 40 rebounds, no points, or something like that. It's very weird. Dennis Rodman was a very defensive rebounding king more than he was a getting points kind of guy. But still did enough for helping Chicago win the championships back in the day. But it was still Dennis. It was still Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan's team.
Yeah.
But there's video of Dennis Rodman smacking the living crap out of Satnam Singh with a guitar.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you can see Jeff Jarrett talking to him. He's like, "Hey, buddy, you gotta get out of the ring." As Aubrey turns around, and is like, "Wait, whoa, what happened here? Why is Dennis Rodman in the ring?"
Yeah. But so
I did find it hilarious because you could definitely clearly tell that Jeff Jarrett's telling Dennis Rodman, "Hey, buddy, it's time to get out of the ring," you know. But
well, here's the thing too. I'm a little upset that this got put on the buy-in. I think it should have been part of the main card.
Yeah, but this was one that they kind of put together last minute, and they already really had pretty much their main card put together, so it makes sense for it to be on the main card. Yes, I will admit that the Acclaimed shouldn't have been on the
0 hour.
The 0 hour, especially when they won those tag team titles in front of 81,000 fans the week beforehand. Or did they? No, I think they won them.
Yeah, the week beforehand at All In.
I was gonna say they won them against
the House of Black at All In. Yeah.
And then you get this is what the problem is that most of those guys that are on the main card at All In were relegated to kind of being the 0 hour for All Out. Except for Kenny, but that's Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And then the Young Bucks were on the main card too. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. You can't put everybody on the main card because you got to have something for the 0 hour. But again, this match was, good for what it was. Again, for the 0 Hour, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. I mean, other than the fact that you had okay, first off, I get it's Chicago, and the Pistons were those big rivals back in the day, and well, before, I guess more so the Jazz than the Pistons. But um,
Oh, you're
why
talking about Sanjay?
why was Sanjay out there?
Wearing an Isaiah
First
Thomas
off,
shirt.
announcing them with like basketball
Oh yeah,
introductions,
announcing them
and also
kind of in
wearing
the
an
old way that
an
yeah.
Isaiah Thomas Pistons jersey. Like, come on now, like. I get it for the whole fact of Dennis Rodman being out there, but like, come on now. You know, I get we do have a show called Tinkle on This, but that would be a Tinkle on This kind of moment right there. It's like, what are you guys doing? But other than that, we're gonna get down to the
The
main
main card.
show, starting off.
Well,
Um,
okay. Before we get into that, this match I feel should have been on the 0 Hour, and you should have swapped this match for the Acclaim.
yeah, but are you gonna really put MGF in? I mean,
That kind of, but I was gonna get to that too. It's like, but do you really want to keep your AEW World Champion on the 0 Hour?
I will say this now. I mean, technically MJF and Cole were on the 0 Hour, and then they were on
Yeah,
the main card for
yeah.
the main event. So I mean, I guess it wouldn't have been far off if you did put this on the 0 Hour for All Out.
Yeah, but at the same time, you really don't want to put your AEW World Champion in two buy-in matches back to back.
Man,
So, I mean,
Dark Order, they had some, you know, as you know, Alex Reynolds has some history of helping train MGF back in the day, so they already had some history together itself. Um, we got to see the kangaroo kick again.
yep.
The double clothesline, which I think was the way that this match did go about. We didn't see any turn
No.
for the worse for Adam Cole and MJF. I was shocked. Maybe that they got that put past them, and then maybe they're actually going to start working as a team and not wanting to go after the world title. For now, I still think that the
Yeah.
Kingdom and Roderick Strong are still going to get involved, as Roderick Strong, I think, actually will win the whole entire
The
thing.
Grand Slam
Will
tournament.
face off against MJF at Wrestle Dream, which is going to be October 1st. You said it was going to be a Saturday. It's actually a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
I did
Yeah.
check it. It's an actual Sunday.
It is a Sunday.
I was going to say pay-per-views are going to start being on Sundays. Nowadays, you have Collision on Saturdays.
Well, not to mention.
Also, I wanted to
WWE
just come out with
Saturday
this.
too.
They are no longer going to do a split of the rosters between Collision and Dynamite. They had to just do that on purpose because of CM Punk
Yeah.
and everything. Yes, by the way, CM Punk is officially released
Oh,
from
yeah.
AEW. We
Yep.
did put it on social media.
We did post that on
Collision
Facebook.
was mostly a split because they wanted to keep the guys that he brawled with on one show and then keep CM Punk separate. Now that CM Punk is released from Collision, you are going to start seeing most of those talent that were just on the one show being on both shows. So it might make Collision a little bit better than what it was before. If you think about it, you might start seeing Young Bucks on Collision. You might start seeing Kenny Omega on Collision. You're going to start seeing guys that you didn't really see on Collision before being on Collision. So it might make Dynamite and Collision better in the long run, if you think about it. So in the long run, this is a good thing. Yeah, it made it more like its own little show, but
Right.
now it's like...
It's kind of a continuation of what... I'm just going to throw it out there. Now that CM Punk is gone, Colt Cabana for Collision.
Wouldn't be far off. But other than that, yes, better than you, Bebe, do retain against Dark Order. I guess I wanted
And
to
they
say
did
that.
hit that double clothesline.
Yeah, they had the double clothesline to hit the kangaroo kick. MJF, and Anna Cole so far. But I really would like to see the Kingdom face off against Adam Cole and for those ROH World Tag Team
Something tells
titles.
me though that
I like the storyline that they're telling with this. I
yeah,
really do.
something tells me though that like it's gonna be Roderick Strong versus MJF at Grand Slam,
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
and then
That was gonna say
at
Grand Slam is before
yes,
Wrestle Dream.
and then at Wrestle Dream maybe, or even on, well, I would say put it on ROH, but I think Wrestle Dream is like the bigger payoff. But have Roderick Strong versus MJF at Grand Slam, have Roderick Strong beat MJF at Grand Slam, and then ultimately lead into MJF and Adam Cole defending against the Kingdom, but then the Kingdom beats them, and it ultimately leads to the implosion of Better Than You, Baby.
What, you saying that Roger Strong should beat MJF for the world title? Is that what you're
Yes.
getting at? I don't know if I
I
like
mean,
that.
granted, yeah, it sounds a little, but hear me out. Roderick Strong is the key factor in the implosion of MJF and Adam Cole.
Yeah, but I think he can do that in a different way than winning the world championship. I I
Mm,
don't think that winning the world championship is definitely something on Roderick Strong's play. I don't think it's going to happen. I will say that I think he's going to win the tournament. Do I think that he's going to beat MJF? No, I do not see it.
mm.
But then again, it would be interesting if it did happen because then, does
Well, I just look at it this way too, because it would be the implosion of not only MJF and Adam Cole, but also Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, because then Roderick Strong would be able to rub it in Adam Cole's face that like, ha, I got the job done and you couldn't, kind of thing, and then it kind of like,
that? I mean, I guess you do have a point there, but I don't know if I
there's
really
layers
see
to
it
this.
um happening. Um, well,
But let's talk about what happened after the
actually,
match.
I didn't even think about this. There's also this. What if Samoa Joe has something to do with
We were gonna
MJF
get into
for the
that.
World Heavyweight title? Samoa Joe, if you remember with NXT
Yes,
Takeover
yes.
Brooklyn, MJF was a
MJF
security
was a
guard
security guard
and
for
got
Samoa Joe's entrance.
pushed aside while he was going into his entrance. Now, Samoa Joe pushes MJF as he's walking down the ring, and MJF tries to beat down Joe before his match. Then Joe chokes out MJF. What does this mean? I think that it's going to mean and that Samoa Joe, after the kind of run that he has had as ROH World Television Champion, I think he's going to get a AEW World Title opportunity at Wrestle Dream. I think that Roderick Strong is going to get the match against MJF at Grand Slam, but I think that Samoa Joe and MJF are going to face off at Wrestle Dream for the World Championship, and I would not be opposed to that. I think MJF can be on the level of the devil and give MJF a good match.
A run for his money.
I think it's going to be a good match if that ends up being the case, honestly.
Well,
So
that's another thing too. Is MJF actually posted on X after that happened. He's like, "I'm not the same kid you met in Brooklyn, motherfucker. It's go time." Like, or let's go kind of thing.
right.
So it's like, eh, eh.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I really do think that Samoa Joe and MJF would make a good match. I do think you would have to put Darby and Bryan Danielson on the card as well, as they're both from the state of Washington. I mean, you have Bryan Danielson not from Seattle
Yeah.
itself, but he is from the state of Washington.
But well,
Um,
no, it is in Seattle.
oh no, I know, but I'm just saying that he is from
Oh, yeah, he's from Aberdeen.
yeah, Aberdeen, Washington, and then I think Darby's actually
Darby's
from Seattle,
yeah.
Washington. So you would have to. I would
Well,
think that it would be right that you would have to put them on the card.
so going back to the Samoa Joe thing, if that's the case, like if he's gonna challenge MJF, in a way, I feel like he would have to lose the Ring of Honor television title to kind of propel him to that main event level.
I well, it could have possibly happened
It
on
could have
this card,
happened,
but
but
I don't think that he has to absolutely lose the title
I don't think he has to lose it. But like
because
in a
I like the
way,
run.
just
I
to
like the
kind of
run that he has been on with this ROH World Television Championship. I just like Samoa Joe in general. This
yeah.
man has found new life being on AEW and ROH. And it's here's looking at you, WWE. I get it. He had injury problems in WWE. The
Yeah,
rigorous
but like,
travel schedule was a lot for him and his body.
but
But
still,
now Samoa Joe's in AEW. He hasn't won barely. He's hardly even gotten
I was gonna
hurt.
say there has never been a report of him being injured.
Well, few times, but very minor injuries and stuff like that. But
Okay,
it didn't derail him from being a
no,
champion. It didn't derail him from anything. I mean, if anything, it's helping him push him into the main event
yeah,
picture, which should have happened when he was in WWE. I get it. He had that match with, I think, what, Brock Lesnar for
he
the
had that
Universal
match with Brock, and
Championship.
they should have gave him the title right then and there.
Exactly. But honestly, other than that, Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor to face off against for the ROH World Television Championship. Um, Shane Taylor was trying hell bent on getting that title back, trying as much as he could to beat down Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was definitely giving him some stiff shots in that match. I mean, for
But
100%,
here's the thing:
even went on the
I
ring and everything like
I've
that.
learned from watching Samoa Joe that like if he knows that his opponent is like trained in like
Well, I mean, Shane
boxing or
Taylor is
MMA or
also
whatever, then he
been.
will give them like
I
stiff
was gonna say,
shots
I think
because he knows
Shane
that they can
Taylor has
take it.
probably done boxing before. He looks because he
They
wears
mentioned it on commentary
he.
that
I
he
was gonna
was, yeah.
say because he wears boxing trunks. I would assume that he's done some boxing and had some training with that. Plus, he's also a 20 plus year veteran in wrestling. So I mean, he has
Is he really?
experience being able. Yeah, I think that's what he said. And he has some experience to be able to take some stiff shots and sell them pretty well. And this match went outside, inside,
Mm-hmm.
didn't matter what it was. And then eventually Samoa Joe has just been on a hell of a tear, and he retains the ROH World
Yep.
Television Championship. It begs the question of when is he actually going to lose the World Television Championship? Because
And who would be the one to do it?
I am not 100% sure
If
of who it could be.
anybody, I felt like Shane Taylor would have been like
It would
the
have made the
perfect.
most sense.
Yeah.
It really would have. But fortunately, that's not what happened at all, and it makes you think of who could be that guy. I mean, unless you get like a Wheeler Yuta beating him for it, I
I
mean,
don't
I
see
don't
that
know,
happening. I don't
or
see that
somebody.
happening.
I don't really see anybody that's a clear cut person that can take that title
Well,
away from Samoa Joe.
I have one idea, and it's a little out there, but who's to say that he doesn't go up against Shibata? I feel like if
Katsuyori
anybody,
Shibata. The problem is that I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that match too, but it makes you think I was like, when is he gonna lose that title? And it better not be the freaking Daniel Garcia because you gotta find somebody else than just Daniel Garcia facing him
or
for that.
Wheeler Yuta,
Or yeah, exactly. See that's
I was gonna say
I
I
like
love
Tony
the pure
Khan. I
division.
love the fact that ROH is back, but like it almost feels like that Tony Khan. And I get it, it's not just Tony Khan that's running it. It is also
Like Stokely
Stokely
and Jerry
Hathaway and
Lynn and
yeah,
like all
exactly.
those,
But
the ROH board of
but
directors.
it's almost like they're kind of losing like track of like who they want
Yeah.
some of their champions to go up against because they don't
Well,
really have a whole lot of
not
people
to
that can go
mention,
after those titles.
not to mention, with the inclusion of AEW, ROH is just too bloated of a roster.
Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. Um, I wasn't really impressed with this next match at all.
Nah,
It really, I
nah.
honestly, okay, so I stated it multiple times even before this, before the podcast to Marty. I was like, I can see Nick Wayne getting involved because of, the whole thing with AR Fox, how Darby forgave AR Fox because he was the one to help train him. I thought Nick Wayne was going to take that as like a dig on him, saying like, "Hey man, grow a pair and get over it." AR Fox is not as bad of a guy as you think he is. I thought Nick Wayne was going to somehow get involved with the Darby match itself, but Christian Cage.
Well,
Didn't really get involved in this. It was Luchasaurus.
here's the thing,
I will
though.
say it was interesting to see the Stairs getting involved.
Yeah.
And
Here's
then
the thing, though. Christian at one point, wanted Nick Wayne to throw in the towel.
Yes.
But,
and Nick Wayne did not want to do it. He wanted Darby to be able to finish it the way that he wanted to have it finished. Luchasaurus.
Well, not to mention,
put the stuff on Darby, stepped on it. I mean, Darby will literally do anything. I mean, he got thrown around like a rag doll in this match by Luchasaurus.
The week before in London, he freaking did a coffin drop on an actual coffin.
Yeah, his lower back is still messed up afterwards. It was getting pretty affected in that match itself.
He's here for a good time, not a long time.
I know. But ultimately, if you told me that, like, he would have still retained, I would have told you you're a liar. But no, Luchasaurus does beat Darby Allin to retain the TNT Championship. I'm sorry, TK. You have lost all sorts of faith in that TNT Championship if you're still going to have Luchasaurus retain. It's sad when the International Championship, and we'll talk about that soon, has more value than the TNT Championship.
True workhorse championship. Now.
It is.
It
no,
used
it is.
to be the TNT title because that was really the only other.
And that's why I was really rooting.
Option,
that's why I was really rooting for Darby, because he stated he was going to try to make it a workhorse championship once again if he got the title, and it didn't happen, and it just sucks because it makes you wonder man, Darby Darby has not, ever since he's been in that Four Pillars Fatal 4-Way match, he hasn't really been the kind of same person, and it just sucks for Darby. It really does.
Well, not to mention, nobody really cares about Luchasaurus matches, even with him being the TNT champion, because nobody would really know that Luchasaurus was the TNT champion anyways, considering Christian Cage is more so the one carrying it around than Luchasaurus. So, you know,
So we get on to this next match.
Oh my God!
At first,
the meat match.
Yes. Everybody knows that it was two big meaty men slapping meat. And no, it's not anything sexual. It just means that they're beating the living crap out of each other, and they're big muscular men.
They're big muscular men
slapping meat. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when this match first got announced, I was like, I don't know how I feel. Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs, are they gonna be slow? Is this gonna drag on and feel like that kind of? No, absolutely not. These two men, I mean, Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs might not be the greatest wrestlers in the world, but let me tell you something. This match lived up to the hype of what it was definitely meant to be.
It's because of how lit the crowd was, and with all those chants of slap that meat and meat forever.
I will say, I think the fans itself, if it was anywhere else than Chicago, I don't think this match would have been as good as it was. But no, the fans were invested in this match, and it made the match even better than it was. Yeah. These two men were beating the living crap out of each other. Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs, doing power slams and all the other stuff. Miro trying to do the accolade, got out of it. Then Powerhouse Hobbs trying to break this back and make him humble.
Oh, with the game over.
And then ultimately Miro, after everything, does the second one, and that is
true game over.
True game over for Powerhouse Hobbs. And then show a sign of respect. They shake each other's hands.
But it didn't
And then
last long, and it didn't mean
it didn't
anything.
mean anything because Powerhouse Hobbs beats Miro down after the match. And who better than Miro's own wife,
His hot,
CJ
flexible wife.
Perry, coming out to save her man, Miro. But afterwards, Miro's like, I don't need my wife. I don't need my God. I want to do this on my own.
Here's the thing, too. People have been posting about this on X. He hasn't forgotten. He hasn't forgotten what Lashley did to his hot and flexible wife. He hasn't forgotten.
And then Miro exits the ring without her. What does this mean? Personally, I would love it. I get it. It sounds bad. But I would like this to be into a storyline. And I know it's bad because AEW was kind of steal a WWE storyline.
You think that, like...
I would like to see a Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro storyline with CJ Perry, and I think that would make so much sense.
No. No. No.
But honestly, I have this real big question. Now that Miro gets this win, what does this mean going forward for him? Because I like that AEW is rebuilding Miro. I really do.
Yeah.
I like it. It means that they are invested in him. They have faith in him. I do like that the upside of Miro going forward with getting this victory. I think he needed it more than Powerhouse Hobbs does.
Yeah.
No offense to Powerhouse Hobbs, but I think you just lost all sense of faith in him. You really have.
Well, and that's kind of like...
You were really trying to reinvent Powerhouse Hobbs. I get maybe he did need to win more than Miro.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm gonna get into. It's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, Miro could use this win, but on the other hand, it's like Powerhouse Hobbs could have used the win because then it could have propelled him. To be
truthfully honest with you, I wouldn't even be opposed to Miro going back after the TNT Championship. I would not.
Let me correct you on that. I wouldn't have him go after the TNT title. I would have him go after the All Atlantic title.
You mean the International Championship?
Title. Thank you. Yes. It used to be called the All Atlantic title.
Or even like possibly going after MJF for the world title. I would not be opposed to it. I would be all for it. I think that he has earned his opportunity for going after a world title since he's never done it in his whole entire career of, in WWE or
he's never been a world champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's long overdue.
So I think it is long overdue, so I would not be opposed to him going after it. But I think it does mean him going after a championship of some sort going forward.
But honestly, I think it makes more sense.
But knowing Tony Khan, it'll probably be the TNT Championship since he's been TNT champion before, and it just
I don't like that. I don't like that narrative. I don't like that idea.
I think it just kind of screams that that's what is coming up next. Is that he's going to face off against Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship. I can see it coming. I really do.
Here's the thing. Then if that's the case, have Miro booked strong with it, like his first reign.
Right.
And after he loses, propel him to that next step. Propel him to the main event.
I think so,
which is what you should have done in the first place with Miro.
Right. Exactly. So we got on to this next match, Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho. I found it interesting that it was only Ruby Soho and Saraya. No Toni Storm going down with the Outcast whatsoever. But
until
she came out of underneath the ring, Ruby Soho was ready to use the spray can into Chris Statlander's face. Takes it right out.
Tony
and starts spraying it herself, and then Chris Statlander does hers.
Gets the what does she call that? I thought she called it like the Big Bang or something, but I think she calls it something different now that she's now that she's no longer the galaxy's greatest alien. So I think now she calls it like something. I don't know what she calls it, but either way, she hit her finishing move on Ruby Soho. Got the win, retains the TBS
Championship. Man, there is some seeds that they are planting
Yeah,
for
for
this,
the Outcast.
for the Outcast. I can
But
really see, I am smelling a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship between the former members of the Outcast.
do we think it happens at Grand Slam or do we think it happens at Wrestle Dream?
I mean,
I think the bigger match.
bigger match would be Wrestle Dream.
I was actually going to say Grand Slam.
I mean, yeah.
Because think about it. It would be the bigger match for Saraya, considering that's where she made her debut a year ago.
True. True. And I was going to say, it's probably in front of more fans than it will be for Seattle, too. So
Yeah. But also, what
also,
are
it
we
has
doing with Chris and her TBS title reign?
I was going to say, we haven't even seen Chris Danlander even much before this match. This was just kind of like, oh, yeah, by the way, Chris Danlander and Ruby Soho.
Yeah.
Well,
It was like,
most
we
of this
need her
card,
to...
I hate to say it, most of this card was kind of put together on the fly anyways. Most of those matches weren't even announced on Dynamite and Collision. They were announced on social media.
Yeah. But
So,
regardless, so
I was going to say,
going into the next match.
yes, this next
but
match.
Also a return of the final countdown.
Yes.
For Mr. Bryan Danielson.
I was going to say, I don't think this one was as special for Chicago than it was in Toronto because in Toronto, he didn't even.
The first time.
First off, he didn't even know. He didn't know that it was going to be played until he literally walked out there. For Chicago, it was a little different because he probably already knew.
He would have known.
He already probably knew that it was coming out. Hence why the reaction was the way it was.
Tells me that Tony Khan was able to strike a deal to get the final countdown as Bryan Danielson's pay-per-view theme.
I was going to say, now that he doesn't have to worry about paying CM Punk anymore, I think he's got some extra money just lying around in his pocket that he can pay for it.
Not to mention, he doesn't have CM Punk on his roster anymore, and he no longer has to worry about licensing Cult of Personality. So he can use all of that money from CM Punk's contract and the licensing rights for Cult of Personality to fund another use of the final countdown.
That is true. I was going to say.
Because he did go on record to say that it cost nearly as much to get the licensing rights for the final countdown as the wrestler's contract. CM Punk's no longer under contract.
I was going to say, that is true. That is true. I was going to say, I would not be opposed to him having that as his pay-per-view thing. And also, have you noticed that usually when he has that, he braids his hair for those pay-per-view matches too?
I have noticed that.
I wonder what is the real but yeah, Danielson, great to see him back. Yeah. Great to see him beat the living shit out of Ricky Starks. But the problem is that
he did have a cast.
Towards the beginning, he was getting his ass beat by Ricky Starks. I was getting worried there that he maybe was like suffering some head trauma and he was busted open pretty early in that match itself.
You know what? He loves that fans are so concerned because it just edges him on.
But I will say this match was lived up to hype. Yeah. This match to start off was supposed to be against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But on the contract, it only just stated the Dragon, which I was like, It said the Dragon. That could literally be anybody. Yeah. That could be.
It could be Ultimo Dragon.
Yes.
It could be, but it ended up being the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Which I was going to say, it was about time for him to come back anyway, because he, from the time in Toronto and...
Yeah. We didn't even mention, though, this was a strap match.
Yes.
So, Danielson and Ricky Starks were both getting lashed good with the strap.
Yes, they were.
Both men had...
Inside and outside. Yeah. I mean, these two men literally went at it.
Yeah, both men had, really bad welts across their backs.
They did. And even...
Probably even their necks, too.
I was going to say, even whipping it towards their faces and necks and everything, man. It was a brutal strap match. And I think it lived up to the hype. Honestly, AEW in their strap matches, I think
I was
they.
gonna say, might I say it's probably the best strap match I've ever seen.
I was gonna say it was really good, and
And it's
I'm
no
grateful that.
disrespect to the strap match between Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson and the Fiend Bray Wyatt, but
Right.
like I hate to say it, but I feel like adding blood to a strap match makes it just feel
I was gonna say
and like
feel that
makes
much more
yeah,
competitive and
and
had that different.
also it like tells a more compelling
It
story
does.
in a strap
No,
match.
it really does. I was gonna say this match definitely lived up to the hype, and I'm grateful that Bryan Danielson came back
But
and got a win
it also
here.
wasn't a traditional four corner strap
I was
match,
gonna say I was grateful it wasn't that there had to be a concrete winner, whether it was pinfall, submission, or
like knockout or
knockout.
something. Yeah, why can't all strap
And
matches are like
honestly,
you know?
Ricky Starks got knocked out in this match, which was the best way to protect Ricky Starks in this
Well, he
match.
passed out.
I was gonna say he passed out. So I think that was the best way to protect Ricky Starks is they are high and mighty on Ricky
Yeah,
Starks.
they are.
I like the way that he's with Big Bill. I like the way that he is a heel, and I
But
like what they're doing
notice,
with Ricky Starks.
actually,
Actually,
never mind. I was about to say, but notice that Big Bill wasn't out there. Yes, he
no,
actually
he was. I
was.
was gonna say
Yeah,
he was beating down Bryan Danielson
yeah,
during the match itself, and he had every right to because there was no rules in that match, so he
nope.
had every right to beat down Bryan Danielson as much as he wanted to. But yes, he did get involved in that match itself.
Yeah.
I think he came down with Ricky Starks in the match too. So
I don't know about that, but I do remember him interfering. Either way.
no, if we want to talk about brutal match, it was this one: Claudio
Yeah.
Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta and Kingston and Shibata. Man,
Did
Kingston.
you notice Eddie Kingston's shirt? It was a tribute to Terry Funk because it said Claudio sucks eggs. It's in reference to a shirt that Terry Funk had that said Dusty sucks eggs.
Oh, I didn't even realize that
Yeah.
said that at
I
all.
didn't even I didn't even notice until somebody had posted it on Facebook. It was a complete and total tribute to Terry Funk, who he actually like Eddie Kingston actually believes that Terry Funk is the greatest of all time.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Shibata and Castagnoli were giving some clear shots to each other in this match
Yes,
too.
yes they were. And the entire time I was thinking like, please be careful with Shibata. Like, please.
But
I
no.
know I'm sure he can
And
handle
of
it,
course, before the
but
match, Kingston and Claudio could not wait anymore. They just wanted to brawl out
yeah,
outside of the ring itself. Wheeler and Shibata, I'm pretty sure, started it. Shibata and Wheeler Yuta. I mean, Wheeler Yuta was taking some shots too. I mean, this was just a brutal match, through and through, all the way around itself. Um, but I was kind of shocked it wasn't Kingston and Shibata getting the victory here at all. But it was Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta that got the win against Eddie Kingston and Shibata. But I was kind of shocked. I mean, I thought it would have made more sense with Kingston and Shibata getting the victory. But Castagnoli always gets the one up on Eddie Kingston one way or another. I would like to see those two men again and having Eddie Kingston getting the actual victory on Claudio Castagnoli. I would like to see them possibly face off for the world championship and Eddie Kingston finally, you know,
oh, you mean like
finally winning
Kingston
the
and
big one.
Claudio like actually fighting for the world title and Eddie Kingston getting his moment?
Yes, I would like to see Eddie Kingston finally getting his moment, but it just seems like Claudio Castagnoli always has, the one up on Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston just cannot beat him, can't get
Yeah.
past him. Um, this next match, you got Kenoshi Takeshita against Kenny Omega. These two men, I felt like it definitely had that Japanese type feel to it. It really did because
I mean, especially as far as Kenny actually going with a tribute to his days in Japan
yeah,
with his
DDT,
attire.
yeah, the green attire
Yes.
there was a very DDT.
which was a shout out to his days in like DDT and All
Hmm.
Japan. So yeah,
Yeah, back in the day when he wore trunks,
yeah,
not even
when
a
he
long.
wore trunks,
Yeah, and had shorter hair. Well,
slightly shorter hair.
Kenoshi Takeshita back in the day had
Kenoshi, yeah,
short
Takeshita
hair. He
definitely
didn't even
had
have the
shorter
long
hair.
hair back in the day. He had it cut
Yeah,
short. But these two men battled, brawled, and everything. Um, I would have thought maybe it would have made sense for Kenny, but honestly, I like the
yeah,
story
I
that
was
they are.
surprised that Takeshita got the win.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that the story that they're telling with everything with it. Um, I don't think this is the end of Kenny Omega or Konosuke Takeshita or the Elite
It's
against
certainly
the
not the
Don
end of
Callis
Kenny
family.
Omega and Don Callis.
It definitely is not,
I think
and
the ultimate payoff is you get Don Callis in a ring with Kenny Omega.
it would be nice, but I think that Don is past his time, past his prime there.
Yeah, well, not to mention, you know, let's look at the last time Don Callis got quote unquote physical. He
Yeah,
split his head open.
I was gonna say I got a scar, and you can still see it. But I think that there's definitely going to be some kind of story telling about like this has been the top story going on is the Don Callis um,
The Don Callis family.
family and Kenna and the Elite and stuff like that. So I don't think this is done and over with yet.
Well, an even bigger question is like, where does Chris Jericho lie in the Don Callis family? Also, this was the first pay per view to not feature Chris Jericho. The first
Yeah,
AEW pay per
but
view
I
to
don't
not
think that
feature
was a
Chris
bad
Jericho.
thing either. I mean, he was on
Wasn't
the
a bad
All
thing at
In.
all.
I was gonna say he was in All In, so I mean, I guess it made up for it.
I mean, yeah, but like,
Plus, he had something going on where I think he was with Fozzy anyway, so that's probably why he couldn't do the date.
mm,
Who knows? I mean, he's in two bands on top of wrestling,
well,
so
technically two. I mean, because he's got
well,
Quarantine and Fozzy.
yeah.
But how often does Quarantine tour?
I mean, good amount they play. A good amount, not as often as Fozzy, but hey,
I mean, it's a Kiss tribute band, so
true.
yeah.
But get on to the second to the last match. We have Bullet Club Gold facing off against Young Bucks and FTR. And I honestly was
The Bang
shocked
Bang
at
Gang.
how well Young Bucks and FTR gelled together
Yeah,
in
they
this
worked
match.
very
They
well
worked
together.
very well together
I
against Bullet
mean,
Club
you
Gold.
saw a BTE trigger between who was it? I think it was Nick and Dax Harwood. Might have been Matt, but also Cash Wheeler and Nick Jackson doing the Shatter Machine.
Yeah,
So, and I was like, I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, but who's going to do the Melter driver? And or more importantly, who can successfully do the Melter driver if it was to come to that? Because then I was looking at that, I'm like, can he do a, a flip? I mean, I know their whole thing is no flips, just fists,
I
but
will
like,
say that the fans definitely were not in favor of
no,
Young Bucks and FTR
no,
at all. Or well, Young Bucks specifically because they
no. FTR was getting booed too,
yeah it
which
just
is interesting because they're friends with Punk.
right. I mean that's well again,
So,
but um
but it makes
ultimately
sense why Young Bucks would get
ultimately
booed.
Bullet Club does get the victory here. Young Bucks got their moment to shine and the and All In and getting
Yeah,
I think they got the victory in All In itself. Yeah, no, actually they didn't. They lost to FTR. So Young
yeah,
Bucks get
yes, they did.
two losses in a row
Yeah,
in
yeah.
pay-per-views here, and it does not look very good.
Same with Omega, the Elite. Aside from Hangman, just have
They have
not
not
been
been
winning
looking good
on
in their
All In or All Out. Which is funny because they lost at All in the matches that um in the show that they pretty much built themselves.
right.
And then they lose it all out. It's like, man, what's
I'm
going on
sure.
with the
I was
elite?
gonna say, I'm sure that there's something's gonna be happening where they're all gonna come together and face off in a big match and Wrestle Dream. So I think there's definitely gonna be some big match. But
We
yeah, it
need
does
some
not look good
elite
for the elite.
redemption.
I was gonna say it does not look good for the elite at all. Honestly, I would like for some kind of like big match at Wrestle Dream. It'd be cool if you could see like blood and guts at Wrestle Dream or something like that. I know that,
I don't know that that would
or
happen.
some kind of like interesting match between both. And it sucks that you already had Stadium Stampede. Why don't you have Anarchy in the Arena for Wrestle Dream or something? Could.
You could, but at the same time, it's like
I
they
think you
already
should
had that
have.
at Double or Nothing.
I think you should have like Bullet Club Gold and like Kanoshi Takeshita versus the Elite, the Golden Elite or something like that. That would be cool. I mean, that's what could possibly happen. I mean, Don Callis kind of aligned himself with Bullet Club Gold in a way, if you think about it,
Mm,
or Will Ospreay. I don't know, something like that. I mean, but yeah,
I don't really think Wrestle Dream needs a big gimmick match, though. That's just my opinion.
I mean, probably not. But knowing what could
Well, the
happen,
thing about it too is like it's supposed to be a tribute to Antonio Inoki, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of like possibly like submission based like gimmick matches, if anything, because he was such like a um you know Antonio Inoki and his like style was very like mixed martial arts kind of thing, and he did a lot of like submission based uh hard hitting.
right?
So
Well, I guess we'll
unless it's
find out.
like some kind of like MMA rules kind of thing, as long as it's not the MMA rules match between Shayna and Ronda.
I was gonna say, if it could be anything like Wardlow and Jake Hager, hey, then it'll be good, man.
um, I mean, even that was like it was heavily gimmicked,
Well, yeah, I mean, of course it was. But we get on
at
to
least
the
that was a better
we get onto the main event, the
main event.
brutal match that was
Yeah.
between John Moxley and Orange Cassidy
Well, it was
for the
brutal for
international.
Orange Cassidy. Moxley didn't bleed once.
I was shocked, man. If anybody bet money on Moxley blading, you would have lost out on money there because.
If that's an actual bet on like
But then again,
DraftKings, that would be
I think
hilarious.
that there was a little bit of blood from Moxley, but not as much
No,
as
there
Orange
wasn't any blood
Cassidy.
from Moxley.
I was gonna say,
There
I'm pretty
wasn't
sure it
any
probably
blood.
was like a bet from DraftKings, and if so, all you guys that bet for him bleeding, you definitely probably lost out on money and probably were not happy. But yes,
Yeah,
Orange
but either
Cassidy was
way.
a bloody mess. He battled to
Oh,
the
to be
end. He
fair,
tried everything he could. We got a different side of Orange
oh yeah,
Cassidy there. I mean,
character progression, but also how much of that was also he reopened the wound from last week at Stadium Stampede.
he probably did, but other than that, man, I tell you what, Orange
Either way,
Cassidy, he gave it his all. He had to fight
yeah,
through the battles, through all the pain, through all the injuries that he had. I
but
mean,
unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The only title that changed hands.
it makes the most sense for John Moxley being able to be the one to dethrone Orange Cassidy
But
after
does
it
it
all.
though? But does it though?
Why? Who would you think would have been better?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, was it ultimately
I
did it
think so
ultimately make sense to have John
because
Moxley be
he
the
had
one to
what 32
31?
defenses. I think.
It
Well,
was 31.
I think wasn't John Moxley the 32nd defense. I think there was he had like,
Well, either way, no, I saw 31.
but
But either way, 31 title defenses, 326-day reign.
I think it's justified for him to lose that title. I mean, that was a lengthy reign as international champion, the best international champion. I mean, even Pac
Yeah,
was all right.
Pac
It's
was good, but like Orange Cassidy just took it to that next level.
I can't wait till Pac comes back. I know he's currently
Yeah,
hurt.
Yeah,
I'm ready for him to be
but
coming back. But John
also
Moxley,
like
I'm hoping that he's gonna have a reign like Orange Cassidy did. I hope he
it would be
defends it
nice.
multiple
But
times, has a
also
great reign as international champion.
after the match, Orange Cassidy got a standing ovation with people chanting, "Thank you, Orange."
I was gonna say, and then he got interviewed, and
Yeah,
he's like, "It's time the to take a rest or something like that."
yeah. Basically, he need you know
I think he
he's
need.
been the workhorse.
I think it's gonna be a little bit before we see Orange Cassidy back. But
He's got
honestly,
to rest up those
after this
nagging
long,
injuries. Yeah,
after what he has done with the international championship, what is next for Orange Cassidy? Does he go
that
up
is a
from here, or does he go
great
down from
question.
here? I
That is a great question.
I think good had to propel him.
You would,
You would
yeah.
have to. I think he
Now,
can only go up from here.
granted, I don't know necessarily that. Well, actually, you know what? No, because last night
You know
was a
what? No,
good
no, 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 no.
indication that he can be a main event guy.
I was gonna say I
So
would like to see
put him in the
it,
main event.
but I would also like to see the best friends and Orange Cassidy go after be involved in the trios division. I would like for them to go after
Yeah,
those
but
world
that
trios
time is
tag team
already,
titles.
that time is already passed. If there was ever a good time to have Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends be the trio champions, it would have been after the Elite had been suspended from Brawl Out
Yeah, but you know what?
and
That
against.
triangle made way too much more sense for those the winning the trios tag team titles during the
I mean,
time
I
because they had a
guess,
good
but
reign themselves before the House of Black won them, and then and then until they claimed won them. So I mean, don't get me wrong, the trios division has been good, and honestly, I think the Acclaim are gonna be great trios tag team
yeah,
champions. Um, I mean, they also need
but
some opponents, so it would not shock me if it ends up being the best friends of Orange Cassidy eventually going after those World Trios Tag Team
I
Championships
mean, I
as
look at it
well.
this way: if they don't put Orange Cassidy in the main event, then it's kind of justified to have him in the trios division. But if they do, then I would say no, don't put Orange Cassidy with the best friends and have him go up against
Right,
because you know yes, there are options like on where to go with Orange Cassidy, but ultimately, I think the option that makes the most sense to me is put him in the main event, have him be in that title picture.
right. I think we'd have to.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for No Final Bell this week. If you'd like to follow us on social media, it is right here at Tinkle Sports.
Right, exactly. Follow us on Tinkle Sports. Um, we don't have just this show every Wednesday at 5. We also have Sunday Morning Tinkle, which is officially back for season 4. Please make sure to check that one out as we're getting back into the football season. Also, make sure to follow, like, comment, subscribe, and follow for more on Tinkle Sports Entertainment on Facebook, watch, and also on YouTube. Um, as always, we will catch you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.